Hi, this is Andrew Olson. Welcome to Your Leader Journey. I want to talk to you today about a concept called pressure and release. So I learned this from a friend of mine who trains horses in Wyoming. I was talking with him about a couple of different situations where I was having trouble connecting and getting some of my team members to actually do the things that I expected of them. And also kind of at the same time, I was having similar challenges with one of my children. And so I called this buddy of mine, and I was just talking to him. He's a smart dude. He's in his 70s. He's lived a lot. He's got a lot of experience. So I said, what do you recommend around these challenges? And he said, oh, it's like training horses. You've got to apply pressure and release. And the basic concept there is you put pressure on in the situation until a point when the person or the horse, in his example, begins to go in the direction that you want, and then you reward by releasing that pressure. So, as I thought about how this applies to the workplace and to leaders and employees and leaders and team members, I've come up with a handful of different ideas around this that I want to share with you. So, when I think about how you apply pressure and release in a work environment, the first thing I think about is increasing the frequency of your coaching. So, oftentimes, an employee might have a coaching session once a month. They might have something once a quarter tied to a quarterly review. Maybe it's just annual coaching tied to their annual performance review. What I find most successful is a really high frequency coaching approach, which might be daily. It might be several times a day, depending on what the employee needs. And you throttle that up and down based on how they're responding to that coaching. So if you've got someone who is not responsive, who's not actually doing what you're expecting, then you need to be coaching them a lot more frequently, what I call coaching in the moment, in fact. And if they are responding and if they're actually delivering on expectations well, then you back that off and you coach them really only when they need it. The next thing in this pressure and release idea is you've got to connect the behaviors that you want from those teammates to your vision, your mission, and your goals. I think one of the last things that people want is to feel like they are assembly line workers just there to make a widget and to shut up and keep their head down, right? So I find that it's a lot more successful, and it's a lot easier to get people to jump and get what you need done if they understand that the behavior you're asking them to display actually delivers on your mission and your value proposition and your vision for the future. So I think that's a really important one to help motivate. And that's really more of sort of the release piece, right? It's the benefit and the value that they're getting out of doing meaningful work. The next is allowing for the consequences of inertia. So if someone's not doing what you expect and you've coached them and you've given them the rationale for why that behavior actually drives the mission forward and they're still not stepping up and doing something, don't absolve them of the consequence of their inaction. Let that take its course because they need to feel some of that pain and some of that friction of not delivering in order to understand what it means if they continue that behavior, right? You can apply all the positive benefits of change and of doing what's expected. But at the end of the day, if they're unwilling to step up, you need to let some of those consequences sink in so that it causes a person to say, well, wait a minute, I don't like this. I don't want it to happen again. So I need to change my behavior. But the other side of that is you also have to provide positive reinforcement. So when you are coaching in the moment, when you are allowing consequences to take hold, and someone changes their behavior and actually starts to step up, that's when I want you to celebrate them. I want you to high five. Maybe it's virtual, so you're sending them a quick note that says, hey, I saw that you did this. I'm really excited about it. This is exactly what I want and what I'm hoping for. Great job. Something like that, or it could be recognizing them in a team meeting, making a quick call or sending a text message to let them know that you saw and you appreciate it. And I just think, so many leaders don't understand how critical that is. So that's a big one for us. The next one I think is helping them attack problems in small bites. So, in marketing, we talk about this idea that if you tell someone that there are a lot of people that need help or need a solution, you get inertia. But if you tell them that they can help one person or they can solve a problem for one person, it becomes a lot more palatable, a lot more easy to understand and motivating. And I think the same thing happens here. If you give someone a really big project and you tell them, hey, get at it, they may not know where to start. But if you help them understand that, yes, it's a big project and there's 5 small projects within this big project, and I just want you to take the first one first and nail that. And here's what that looks like. And then when you finish that, you go on to the second one. And here's what the second one looks like. And here's why it's important. And so you're allowing them to get little wins along the way and not feel overwhelmed by some massive project that they just can't figure out how to attack. So I think that's a really good recommendation as well. The next one is the idea of creating structure. So in my business, we call it freedom within a framework. I've been in other firms where they call it latitude within limits. And really, the concept here is I want to give you the personal agency to do the work the way that you feel like it should be done and with your own style and approach. But I want to give you guardrails so that you know that your own style has to live within these limitations. And what we find is when you do that, people actually step up and say, oh, I have a lot of autonomy. I can do this my way. When you don't, they go all over the place. And that often results in some pretty catastrophic results of people just not understanding what the limitations are and either overspending, selecting the wrong vendors, going in a direction you didn't desire, and a number of things. So if they don't have that framework, you actually can put them at risk and put your business at risk. And the last item in this is you've got to remind people what success looks like. So let's say that you're on a multi-month or even a year or multi-year project. You as the leader need to keep pointing your people to what the future reality should look like, what the vision is, what success looks like, so that along the way, when they feel like they're getting stuck, they get a reminder that, oh, wait a minute, we're actually on the right track. And here's what the positive benefit's going to be if we complete this. So I hope that's been helpful for you today. I hope you have a great day.